Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Monday, Double Flag Monday on an absolutely, again, another beautiful day. We've been having such nice weather. This is, the beginning of October. It's the end of September. Just is the perfect weather for me. I love it. It's cool, crisp days. Leaves are going to start turning soon, but we got a couple things to do downstairs. Let's get right to it. Okay, we're back down the shop, and like I said, it's such a nice day out, and we do have a lot to get to, but the one thing I wanted to cover, a couple weeks ago, we did that Stanley 20-ounce hammer. Well, this is a 22-ounce hammer. I'm going to talk about it in a minute, and we got a couple stories to tell, so let's get this Monday going. Okay, here's what we're starting with. We have this hammer that we picked up, and it was $3 firm. So they were not negotiating with this particular hammer, but we went through this. I don't know why these tubular hammers fascinate me. The shame of it is that the Asian copies of these hammers destroyed the reputation of these. The Asian copies, I don't know what kind of steel tube they use, but they used to break a lot, and that gave these a bad reputation, whereas you never see these Stanleys or any good quality one, True Temper or Rocket hammers that are broken or bent or something. They're usually very durable. They probably used a very good steel, but the Asian ones were horrible. So this particular hammer, the reason I found this fascinating, you can see here it is a Stanley, and it says ST-22-L, which I believe stands for 22 long, and it's a 22-ounce hammer. And you can see it says wear safety goggles. I don't know how much we'll be able to keep because this is already worn. And we just wanted to have a good time, fun with this. You can see it was used for sheetrock at one time or another. It's still got the residual sheetrock on there. And it is a long hammer. When I say a long, it's just quite long. So we'll have some fun with this, clean it up. It don't look like a difficult, it wasn't beat or wasn't used for demolition, I could see, because the head looks good. So let's get to it, have some fun, see what we can do with this nice Stanley 22L. Well, before we get started, I guess the time has come to replace the wire brush here. You could see it's a bit worn down. Still works, but I like these. I get these from Harbor Freight, and it's a Warrior brand. Obviously, they're made in, I assume, China, where everything else is made today. But I like these because they're brass coated. See, let's make sure you remember that. They are steel, but it's brass coated, so don't think they're made of brass. And it has a maximum RPM of 4,500 RPM. And this one here is 3,450. So we're well within the range. But I do like these wheels. And remember, the bigger the wheel, the faster the surface speed. So this will do a good job. And I do like these. So compared to the red ones that you get, the steel red ones, that is a much harder, a stiffer wire. This is, for some reason, it seems a little softer. Now, real quickly, this is called an Arbor Adapter, and what it does is it takes the regular shaft that comes out of a motor, you put this adapter on with 2 set screws, and it allows you to mount the wire wheels, the buffing wheels, or any kind like that. And when you get them, they usually come like this. This is an adapter ring. You see this little plastic ring here? That just takes up the space because they normally have a 5/8 of an inch hole for bigger motors like the Baldors and commercial motors. But they also have this little adapter ring that fits in here like this. And it's more or less just a spacer because this is a smaller 1/2 inch spindle here. So if you did have a bigger one, you would just pop that out. But otherwise, you would put that in here. And again, you could see how this is a much softer. You could see here, this is much softer than this one over here. This one is much, much harder. And these usually last longer, but they don't leave it as nice of a finish. I do like these brass coated wheels that you get at Harbor Freight. When you first start it off, it might run a little bit untrue. You might have a couple stragglers, but that'll wear in and eventually run nice and smooth. Now, as you know, I'm not a safety Sally, but the one thing I have to say, if ever you're going to use a wire brush, the most important thing is to have some eye protection. A face shield is good, but at least eye protection. You must have it because sometimes these things will shoot out, and you know, that this is just something you don't want to deal with. So always eye protection. And the other thing is, try not to stand directly like this behind it. Always stand a little off to the side. Like if you notice, I'll stand about 15 degrees either left or right of the spinning wheel. Don't stand right in front of it, because this is where the projectiles will come out. You know, if they do come out, just stand off to the side whenever you're using any grinding wheel whatsoever. Okay, here's our post-wire brush evaluation. You can see we got rid of most of the rust here. Again, we don't go crazy because we're going to be doing it with the flap wheel, but you can see what it looks like now. Again, there is the writing. It is a nice stamp, but again, there's a lot of dents around it, so it's going to be very tricky to keep all that, but you can see what it says. And again, nothing too bad. Over here, we always like to put some paint, so we won't be going nuts over there, but you see the facets, and you know, there's no claw damage. A lot of times these are chipped, and getting in here, you have to use the Dremel or a hand wire brush to get in there, and it's coming good. And then there was a lot of kind of a little bit of a dent here from someone missed. There's really nothing you could do with that, you know. We're gonna see what we can do. There's really nothing you could do. Over here, you could see that they have this kind of finishes. It's not a really smooth finish, but we'll try and put some texture on there. We don't want to polish that. We want to have some texture so it don't show the fingerprints. But now we go to the flap wheel. That's always fun. Let's head over to that. Next up, you know what's pretty amazing? How much the computers have changed our lives in the last 20 years. It's just phenomenal. You know, when I was a kid, if you had a hobby, you know, you had to search out, and it was very difficult to find other people that shared your same interest, especially for some of these strange hobbies like tool restoration that we might be into. But now with the advent of the computer and the internet, I mean, the whole world, you find out that something you thought was obscure and rare, you find out that, you know, a lot of other people like us have this, share the same interest. So it's just amazing. YouTube, how much it's changed the world. And now I follow Instagram. Instagram is a format where people just post photos and short movies. It's quite enjoyable, and there's so many different facets of hobbies and things that you could follow and learn. And I happen to a friend of mine, Barry, who's Old Tape 61 on Instagram. Barry had reposted a picture from a gentleman in New Mexico, Jay Marquez, I believe, and he has a collection of vices and other interesting, like hoists and things like that. But look at this beautiful picture he posted on Instagram. Look at just, first of all, the colors, the saturation, the background. It was just a beautiful pictures and of these vices, these Columbia vices. So I just thought that was really cool. So you might want to give him a follow, because he does have some interesting stuff. You know, Ben, our buddy Ben, the Tool Addict, is just on fire on Instagram, because he also posts a lot of rare and unusual tools. And if you're not following him, you definitely should. But just thought that was interesting. Okay, this is after the flap disc. You could see what we did. We were able to keep the writing, which was nice, you know. And now we're going to go with these facets are always a challenge, you know, because you got to get in with the edge to keep those facets nice. And you know, we're going to paint all that, but you still want the edges looking nice. And then we did the face, came out good. We're going to do this now with the belt sander, this curved area. We did the top. We're going to clean that up again with the belt sander, and then get all these edges. See, because we got some sharp edges here. We're going to bevel all those edges and then clean it up. And we got to get the ring and the shaft. So we're coming good. Everything's good. Here is the shaft of the handle, and you can see what it looked like before. It had that that kind of finish, that dimpled finish, and we're finishing it up a little bit better. Okay, we're finished with the polish. We still have to do wax and everything, but look over here now. We're going to work on the handle, and you see the handle isn't in bad shape. It's got some dings, and you never get that out. You can't sand it. It's rubber. But first, we're going to scrub it with some Goop hand cleaner and get all that clean. And then we're going to try some products that we got from a good friend of the show. You all know him, Dean Collins. Now, a while back, a good friend of the show, as you know, Dean Collins, he is one of the restorers at the Heart of Route 66 Auto Museum in Oklahoma, and I can't wait to go there one day. I'm definitely on my bucket list. And speaking of bucket list, he sent this bucket from Jay Leno's garage. Dean sent it over. Let me show you the cool stuff. Besides sending this cool bucket that has the, you know, this has the grate in there that separates the dirt, so you're not constantly mixing the dirt in with your wash. These are always great to have, but because Dean does all the restorations and detailing of all the cars at the museum, I'm sure he uses a lot of these products. So we have a quick detailer here, wheel cleaner, tire and trim care, vehicle wash, and some microfiber towels, things like that. But what we want to do is, after we clean it, we're going to use this tire and trim care, because this puts a nice sheen and protects it. It's got a lot of ingredients that, you know, will keep the rubber supple and shiny. So we're going to try that today. I'm looking forward to that. And again, Dean, thanks so much for sending this over. Now, here's the handle after we goop and cleaned it. Now everything is clean. All that hand sweat and salt and oil from the hands is off. But you see it leaves a dull finish because it's, like I said, it's a hand cleaner. It really doesn't have any protecting in it. So we're going to try out that Jay Leno's tire trim care, because that'll, I'm sure, to work very much like Armor All. Okay, now before we do any paint, what I did is I scrubbed everything with Comet and a brush, and then cleaned it off with dry paper towel. Now I'm going to hit the whole hammer with a heat gun, make sure there's no residual moistures left before I do any paint. Okay, you know my favorite part. Remember what this Stanley $3 hammer looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done, and I have to say I really enjoyed this one. Thought I would. First of all, we used Dean's Jay Leno's tire application on here, and it really came out nice, didn't it? And then we finish it up with a little 50-50, my mineral oil and Vaseline, that, you know, and it just gives a nice feel, not slippery at all. Real nice. And you see what we did with the shaft of the hammer. Looks really nice, doesn't it? And of course the face of the hammer. And again, we went a little bit on over here, a little bit over the top, but look at that. We were able to keep the Stanley, all the lettering you can see here. Really nice, isn't it? And everything just looks so nice, and there's a smooth finish to it. Again, it's not a full polish, but you could see here, and the edges, this is the key, the edges. I mean, and then we did the paint trim, you see, on the inside, a little over here, and it really makes the facets pop when you do that paint trim around the style. It just looks so classic. Such a nice hammer, isn't it? And again, these, you know, you can pick these up really cheap at the flea markets. Although, for some reason, these Stanley tubulars are quite collectible on eBay. I mean, they don't go cheap as you would think, but at the tractor shows, you could pick them up for a couple dollars. But if you go on eBay, they're a little bit more. But they really are, and do make a beautiful hammer. This was just a tremendous amount of fun to do this hammer up and to get it to this point, especially for, you know, for getting it so inexpensive. So in closing, again, special thanks to my good friend Dean Collins out in Oklahoma for sending that Jay Leno stuff. That's and it smells so good, that stuff. I love the smell of certain cleaning products. I really do. And this was a fun project. For a $3 hammer, you can't have more fun than coming down the basement and forgetting about everything and just getting involved in a small project like that. A lot of fun. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy it. Take care now. Bye-bye.